A happy birthday to this, whatever this is called. Welcome. Still haven't chosen a name for this. I'm going to wait until we're both together to actually decide on a name, but I thought I've got some spare time, so I'm going to attempt to do the first one solo. So I have a few topics in mind. One of them Dan will understand because we have just both started playing New World. Cue picture, wherever that is. New World. I've always been a massive fan of MMOs. MMOs or RTSs or hack and it's got very much a hack and slash feel to it as well. It's like multiplayer Skyrim basically. But New World, I mean, for one, it wasn't until I bought it that I realised that it was made by Amazon. The guys that deliver packages have decided to create a game. And my God, they have thought of everything there is to think about in an MMO game. Some of it very tedious, yes. It might as well be a walking simulator because you do have to walk for miles. But it's slightly rewarding in a way. It sets a pace, well, quite a slow pace. So, yeah, leveling is pretty decent, but it's at like sort of a slow rate. And there is a lot of stuff that is like locked behind, high levels. A lot of the PvP content is locked behind level 50 to 60, so it's like end game. Loads of different classes to pick from, but not in the sense of, I am going to be a hunter because that is the button I press to become a hunter. No. Your stats, whatever weapons you want to use, the type of armor, the perks on the armor, the bloody everything, absolutely everything in there is to curate your own way to play, basically. So you could be some sort of weird, battle mage that runs around, has stupid tons of mana and magic through a healing staff, and then switches over. He's got a massive strength stat, so he's using a massive warhammer at the same time to smash the shit out of people. So, I mean, you can play it any way you want to play it. I mean, I would always suggest a one long-range weapon and one hand-to-hand weapon, especially for hunting. When I found out there was a musket in the game, I thought, how's that really going to work in a MMO? But do you know what it is? Hunting. That is the one. Most of the animals that you use to just, forage for food and stuff like that, they're all one-shot kills. So, and the bloody thing, as much as it hasn't got a scope, so you are using the reticle on the screen, but it's like a friggin' sniper. And I haven't tested out the ranges and stuff like that yet, but even when you're using a musket, there's perks on the perk tree for musket that increases the damage the further away the targets are, the further the targets away. So that's cool. The one thing I quite haven't got there with is the story narrative, the lore. I've been very much set on just XP, because a lot of the visual, like the cosmetics and the armor, is locked behind your level cap. So when you first start out, a lot of the stuff that drops is just the same stuff recycled, but at a slightly higher level every time you level up. I'm at level 23 now, and I'm finally starting to see different looking armor. So the lower levels, there was different looking armor, but it was more like, that's a light set, that's a medium set, there's a heavy set. it was, yeah, there wasn't much choice. But now, 23, I'm starting to see some, my guy's basically a big hulking tank. Massive constitution. He's got loads of health. His strength's at like 100, so yeah, I'm pummeling things in like 2 shots. But there wasn't much choice in armor. Basically, I was going to the marketplace, which is another thing we need to talk about. It's absolutely brilliant. I was going to the marketplace and just buying the highest gear score items, which was the same cosmetically. It looked exactly the same. It was just different stats, a couple of different perks on some of them. But that was it. There's nothing really different. Then I headed over to picking a faction. So I am Marauder, obviously, because strength and constitution, all the stuff on their sub-screen is strength and constitution. So that fits me to a T. But everything was green. I don't like green. That's a strange thing, but I mean, the majority of the foliage around you was green, so why would you do that? So anyway, you can buy dyes. You can change the colour of your armour. That's cool. I like that. So the marketplace. Wow. So the marketplace and the prices within the marketplace is completely based on players selling them for a certain price. A helmet one day might be 100 coin. That same helmet a couple of days' time might only be 2 coins. Depending on demand, depending on, how many people want to buy such a thing, which is good. So you've got that. So a marketplace where pay rates go up and down, constantly fluctuate. But then within the map, there are various settlements. And depending on who owns that settlement at the time, so it might be a guild that is just full of mages, or it might be a faction that's with the Covenant. There might be tons of people from the same faction in this one settlement. So obviously, different items will have different demands in different settlements, which, to me, for a game, that is... They have thought of everything for that. But I would definitely say the game is just one massive grind. 100% it's a massive grind. You have levels for everything. You have picking potatoes and harvesting. There's one level that you need to level up, which I only found out yesterday. I'm level 23. But my harvesting yesterday was only at level 1 because I had no use for it. But now I'm getting through the actual main story quest. I'm stuck at a point where I need 3 of this certain material, which requires level 30 harvesting. So I needed to completely stop everything I was doing just so I can go harvest and try to get a level 30. So anyway, nearly there. Locating certain things on the map. The map itself, when it's on the screen, you can't really tell too much apart. It doesn't show you where resources are on the map. But you do have a clever little moving compass at the top of your screen, just a bar. But obviously when you turn, it turns with it. And as you level up certain... I was going to say perks. It's not perks. So you're harvesting, you're mining, you're logging, I was just going to say linen there. Yeah, not linen. Anyway, when you start leveling them up, you start to unlock sort of little... Right, you can now see small wild animals on your compass. So as you get... There's a range. But when you get closer, you can see them just, little rabbits on the compass bouncing around. and you can go straight to the direction. The same with mining. Once you've mined enough, you start unlock sort of, it's not perfect location, but location for iron ore is the first thing. So you'll just see a couple of little rocks on your compass and you can follow it. I mean, it's not a massive range. But if you're running through a forest or you're running through a canyon and all of a sudden it pops up, if you're anything like me, you're just suddenly like, oh, there's a bit of iron over there. Let's go get that. Let's go get that. So it's helpful in a way, especially if you get sent, if you're on like a side quest and you get sent to a certain area to find something. Very handy. And in terms of end game, I haven't been in any end game stuff because obviously I'm only level 23, but I have seen countless times your settlement is ready for battle, and or someone has challenged the settlement, stuff like that. So there's an ongoing war, permanently on. The map is divided into colours. Marauders are green, Covenant is purple, and whatever the other one that nobody talks about is yellow. So the sections of the map are all, there's a settlement in each section of the map. And depending on which faction the guild that owns the settlements from is what colour it would go. Which is also a good thing, because, me and Dan, probably is the world's smallest guild, 2-man guild. We could challenge someone's settlement, as long as it's not a marauder one, obviously, because we're marauders. Hoorah! Marauders, hoorah! We could challenge someone's Covenant guild, that's up in some settlement somewhere, and we could try and take that settlement from them. It would never happen because 2 men probably against 60 to 70 men is never going to happen. But the option's there if you fancy it. The option's there. So I think that's pretty good. It's such a random. It reminds me of when I used to play For Honor, and it had the faction war every single week. It would refresh, and obviously you would have to take bits of the map and slowly take over, and it would show you the score for each faction. But yeah, I love it. Then we get to crafting. So crafting, you've got your armor work, your weaponsmithing, your tool. Is it the workbench? Toolsmith? I don't think it's called toolsmithing. It might be. And your smelting, all your leather work, your linen work. Loads of stuff to grind. Absolutely loads of stuff to grind. And obviously, like any game, where there's levels, there's stuff locked behind levels. So it's not like you get the option to make the best armor in the game from the get-go. It's locked behind like 175 levels, which progressively get more difficult to achieve because the XP boundaries rise. But hey ho, guess what? Gonna grind. You need games to grind. For the people out there that like to buy a game for story and go, well, I've completed that and delete it, this game is definitely not for you. I've only just started touching on the story quests. Side missions, faction missions, PvP faction missions. There's just a crap ton to do. And even when there's not a crap ton to do, you can go fishing. You can literally sit there and just sit there. Get ready. Bite. Oh, get it in. I caught a boot yesterday. I wasn't even disappointed. I caught something. That's fine. I could caught chlamydia and I would have been perfectly fine with it. So, basically, I think if I get into the lore of the game, it will become a lot more enjoyable. I'm at level 23 and I've found an absolute shit ton of pages, so realistically I could probably sit and just read through them to understand a bit more of the lore. The NPC character designs are slightly lacking, but I don't think it really concerns or impacts the game too much, because most of the NPCs, you'll do a handful of missions for them and then you probably never ever talk to them ever again. So it's not like your typical vendor where you have to keep going back to that vendor every single day or every single minute of the day. So really, no, they don't really need that much of a personality. The town mayor or the owner of each settlement, I'm sure it's the same NPC for each one of them. It might be just a difference between male and female. That's it. But like I say, it doesn't impact the game at all. The enemy design, quite liking it. You've got a mix of wolves, tigers, bloody lynxes. You've got your big cats hidden up in the forest, in the jungle. That's always a must in most MMO games. There's always a wolf somewhere. Big ass grizzly bears that I was fighting yesterday. Jesus. And then you get onto the sort of ghouly, ghosty side of things. Early on, you'll come across, I think they're corrupted people, so they look very ghouly, very like zombie-ish. Which again, most MMOs will have zombies, and normally it's the first couple of enemies that you would be fighting, zombies. You've got your ancient guardians, which are all skeletons and skeleton related, and you know, little ones that haven't got any legs and they're crawling and they jump at you. And then some of the bosses that I've fought so far. There was a big guy yesterday, an absolute huge guy. I can't even remember his name. I think he was called Pastor Walsh. Not pasta as in the food. Pastor as in church pastor. But I've seen his name, and then you look at him, and then you look at his name again, and then you look at him again. He's as big. He's like 3 times the size of the Hulk. But he's got ripped clothes, and he's got this sort of ripped cloth mask and a big pointy crown. He beat the living shit out of me yesterday. And I thought I was being clever because at the time, Dan was watching on stream. And this level 27 guy ran up with a bow and started attacking him first. So I jumped in to help. And bash, Warhammer to the face. Killed him. But the level 27 guy got killed as well. And I was standing there, I was like, hey, look, see, level 22. Absolutely beat the crap out of him and you died. What a loser. What happened next? Boss respawned after about 3 minutes. I was exploring the inside of this little church. Picking up the stuff out the chests and stuff like that. And I seen another little enemy. It was just a ghosty thing. I thought, oh, bash. Yay, killed him. Turn around. There's Pastor Walsh again. He wasn't actually looking at us. He just instantly charged at us. Instantly charged. And I think it was about a 4 or 5 tap and I was dead. I was gone. So, guy with a bow was helping. I wish I remembered your name. But I can't remember your name. So that's that one. That's New World. If you haven't tried it already, yeah, it's not a heavy price point, to be honest. For a new game, £30. You pay £60 for a new game on console. Yeah, New World. Good price point. It's not a subscription, so for an MMO, I like that about MMO. No subscriptions, and I mean, there's an option to go on and pay for cosmetics and stuff like that, but not for me quite yet. I want to get into the game a bit more. It's only been 4 or 5 days. But yeah, that's a good one. That is a very good one. Topic end. New topic. So this is the first time I'm talking to you about basically anything. And I want to tell you about the amazing hobby that I started during lockdown. Now, we'll start with the slight obsession with anime. And I wouldn't say an obsession as in, like, my wallpaper's full of waifus or anything like that. Because it's not. I've always watched stuff, you know... I nearly said Yu-Gi-Oh! There. The very westernized anime there. Yeah, no. Dragon Ball, Naruto, the oldies, Full Metal Alchemist, Fairy Tail, back in the day. And then I come across Gundam. I'd always seen a few glimpses of the actual models themselves. Or people buying them, or they've got them on the shelves, or whatever. First time I remember seeing one and thinking, wow, that is a cool Japanese robot, is actually in the music video for Somewhere I Belong, Linkin Park. In his bedroom, he's got a big RX-78, which is one of the robots. They're not. They're suits. They're big exo suits, controlled by a pilot. Yes. So anyway, I thought, right, I'm gonna watch. Where did this come from? So I started googling it. Wikipedia. Obviously, Wikipedia is correct at all times. But the thing started bloody decades ago. Absolutely decades ago in Japan. 60s, I think it was. They started making a cartoon. I say cartoon, anime. Before anime was a thing. And manga. They used to do a Gundam manga. So I thought, sod it, Christmas is coming up. Obviously, this was 2 years ago now. Christmas was coming up. I am going to try to build my first ever Gundam. So, instead of just one, I got 3 Gundam models in one go. Bearing in mind I'd never built one before. I didn't know what the writing on the box actually meant, because there's HD, RG, bloody UG. It is how it's basically the difficulty and the overall look of each model. So I got 2. Thank you, Saskia. Get down, please. Thank you. I got 2 high grades, which is basically it's where you would start. There is a starter kit, but they nah. So I got 2 high grids and started building. Sorry, I keep looking up because they're all on my shelf just up there. I started to build one of them. Then realised, one, everything's on a sprue, on a plastic sprue, so you need to clip everything out. Precisely clip everything out, because I mean you need to have the smoothest of the smooth parts, because what you're building is all the internal structures as well, all the mechanical joints, everything you can think of in a robot you were building from scratch. So that was the high grade. Then I got the real grade Strike. Wow. So when I first got it, I thought, right, the pieces are smaller, there's more of them. There's fancy decals and stickers and water slides to put all over it. There is kick-ass big wings to put on this thing. So impressed in the way they looked. Unbelievably impressed with the way they looked. Then I got, I was going on to a website to buy. Well, I was basically changing the search to pricing it lowest to highest, and I was going through all the non-expensive ones and looking to see which ones I liked the look of. I wasn't really too bothered on what the characters were or from which series or saga that the characters were from. It was just purely based on looks. What do I want on a shelf? What looks class? I'll buy that one. So basically every month after that Christmas, I went on, bought a couple or bought one, built them, painted them up a little bit. Some of them I painted up. Some of them use little tiny little fine liner to do all the detail and work. And I would say, it has become a slight obsession, and some of them cost quite a bit of money. The master grades, which are more detailed, but they're in a bigger scale as well, they look phenomenal. They are actually easier to build because the pieces are easier. The pieces are bigger, so it's easier to put together. But you get so much more detail out of them. It's unreal. Which brings me to my last birthday present that I bought for myself. So I'll show you. I'll show you the comparison. So this is a high grade. If it focuses on it. It's not going to focus, is it? If I move out the way. If I do that. There we go. That's a high grade. It's about the size of my hand. He's pretty cool. Wasn't very complicated to build. Then I seen that there was just one Gundam that you could buy in Mega Grade. I'm going to say Mega Grade. The biggest scale you can get and still build. So it's an RX-78. So, I mean, even if you've never heard of Gundam, you will have seen this guy before. Look at the frickin' size of him. Look at that. Look at the size of it. Look at the comparison. Look. I still got a lot of, detailing left to do. I've done the shield. All the dark areas. So all of these are flat colours when you first get them. Flat white. But I mean, I've done some of the detailing work around the helmet and stuff like that. Around the back of the helmet. Which you wouldn't see if you haven't used your little pen. But I'm absolutely obsessed. But they're cool to have. And I mean, that collection that I've got up there now, it's worth a good couple of £100 to start with. And I'm definitely not as bad as some of the YouTubers that are out there that, basically do it for a living. I'll see if I can get that back on the shelf. Yep. So that's that one. And I think, as a starter, first ever little chatting shit podcast. I don't think we're going to be able to actually call it chatting shit. But you understand. We're talking bollocks here. It might not be a topic that you ever want to listen to, but guess what? You've listened to it now. So, anyway, thanks for joining me today. Next one, hopefully, I will be getting Dan on with me, and we'll do a proper interview, proper podcast. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye bye.